Good morning. This is things you might not have heard for Wednesday, July the 19th, 2023. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne. Thank you for being a part of the program with us for today. We're going to give for you in just a moment 8 of the stories that you vetted as conversational. And they're from the top listing stories we have of the day. The top 15 stories, we took those. You picked 8 of those. Well, I picked 8 of those. You picked 15 and went from there. We're going to go ahead and get into that very quickly and just get you the news of the morning, the way to get things started. Your latest and information for politics and pop culture and information, all sorts of great news that, like we said, is vetted by you for this version of things you might not have heard. Now, we'll explain the vetting process in just a bit. Let us get through the headlines first, but we'll remind you, go to our main website, which is thisisaconversationproject.com. Thisisaconversationproject.com for more details about what we do at the Conversation Project and how things get going. So a bit of a day of flux today, so hopefully it works out well for the video. Audio should be fine on that end, but let's get into the news stories, shall we? Story number 1, headline reads like this one. U.S. national held in North Korea after straying over border, United Nations says. Now, the link in the article that we have here gives you the details from when we got the initial word. Essentially, as we were going on the air here, they were talking about it, so we couldn't really put much in there in the tease. It was just sort of happening. Then we got more information about basically what happened. Essentially, a young soldier, a young private, was the short version of the story we're getting now. Is he was essentially just doing some time in the brig and not doing very well in South Korea, I should say, and was about to be disciplined, to honorably discharged itself, and was basically being sent back to the States to deal with his trial. Somehow, he, in his leaving from detention and getting on the plane to go home, he escaped his captors, let's say, blended in with a group of tourists that were touring the north-south border. Somehow saw basically the spot where we saw President Trump just walk over about 2-3 years ago. Saw that spot, made a mad dash for it, 20 yards or so, and bam, ended up in North Korea. And now we're where we are. So it isn't some sort of weird sort of coincidence. It isn't somebody who just sort of kind of wandered in from not paying attention. It was literally a guy running for his life, trying not to get sentenced in the United States court. And now he's in North Korean court. And that's going to really suck. Keep up with this one. We're going to have to basically update as his updates. Because like we said, the story we got originally, as no one knew what was going on, we're going to see how this thing plays out over time. Sofia Vergara and Joe Manganiello, sorry for butchering that one, announced divorce after nearly 8 years of marriage. Sofia Vergara, we talked about a few days ago because it was her birthday and we celebrated that with the fanfare and joy we should have. Now we have to sort of mourn the loss of one of Hollywood's, more beautiful couples that seem like they're doing well. But like we said, it's really not our business what's going on. Apparently, it's not quite as well as going on. After 8 years of marriage, they have announced they are divorcing. Vergara was engaged before. She met Manganiello. But that didn't work out, and so she had this marriage here. We will talk more of this one because we like to be in people's business for these things as well. Special counsel informs Trump he is a target in probe of efforts to overturn 2020 election. Special counsel Jack Smith informed President Donald Trump by letter that he is a target of an investigation into the efforts to overturn the 2020 election. This is a separate, different charge that Jack Smith's dealing with, already charging him with the documents and all that stuff. This is totally separate. Now, the letter that he got, a letter of the special target letter, basically tells the person you are the target of an investigation, which we're being told is not necessarily the way to go in these things. Essentially, you send a target letter to people near the bottom, give them a chance to step up and testify, maybe flip on the guy at the top. Trump's the guy at the top. So this is more of a courtesy, at least to go with that. He got this letter on Sunday, told us about it on social media on yesterday, and has been sort of airing grievances all along. He has until Thursday, essentially, to speak to this. He can literally speak to the grand jury before something happens. Something will happen. We'll basically find out on Thursday. Tickets for Messi's U.S. debut cost as much as $110,000. We told you about this as a teaser story yesterday, and we got it in the list, so here we go. Lionel Messi actually went on the field yesterday, on the pitch, as they say over across the pond, to practice, do some drills with his new team in Miami. However, what's going to be big time is when he opens his first game, which is going to be Friday. Tickets selling at $110,000 on the secondhand market. No, they're not selling it from the gate because, yeah, that would make some serious money. We're going to see how Messi does, what he brings to American football or soccer in the way of eyeballs and maybe some money and stuff. Like right now, a ticket to see Messi is a hot ticket across the nation here, and that's just for locals and people here who want to see a real footballer do his thing. We'll see how he plays out and whether his team in Miami is actually going to be any good. We know David Beckham came over to the States and his teams weren't all that great, but he was there as more of an ambassador. We'll see how this works out for Mr. Messi. CEO Bob Iger considering selling streaming services and other assets, may even try to sell entire Disney company. This is more rumor and innuendo, but Bloomberg reported potential sales of Disney TV assets, referencing Iger is now trying to do some stuff with an infamous interview about what's up for grabs. Iger agreed with David Faber that ABC and its local stations may not be core to the Walt Disney Company, meaning the TV stuff. ABC, ESPN, those things aren't necessarily about fairy tales and chipmunks turning into magical creatures. And so we shall see what happens, how Disney survives. Now, Disney's not dead yet, but like many companies these days, the changeover of everything, life in general, is not what it was. So how things work out for this case will be something going forward. If your dreams are of retiring on a Powerball winning, it's going up because Monday's jackpot went up to $1 billion after nobody won on Monday. Now, we'll probably post this because we have to post things all the time. But last night, no one won the Mega Millions. That's up to about $750 million on its own. If you won them both, you'd be extremely rich. If you won one, you'd be pretty gosh darn taken care of. You will not win because, as I say often, and even as I buy tickets for these things, someone will win, and it is pretty much guaranteed to not be you. And the flip side of that is the person who wins has their life ruined anyway. So what's the point? Because it's $1 billion. Miranda Lambert, concertgoer, speaks out after singer stops show because of selfies. So we are updating this because one of the people who were at the concert, the person specifically that was sort of hyped out by Miranda Lambert for taking selfies while the show was going on, has spoken out to Good Morning America. At least that's where we got this from. So we're assuming that Good Morning America actually spoke to the person. So Adela Callan, that's her name, and her friends were taking selfies at the Miranda Lambert concert. Okay, they're having a great time. They're having fun. Everyone around is singing and dancing and singing whatever Miranda Lambert sings. And then Miss Lambert sees them in the corner, not quite paying attention to her, stops the show, calls them out, embarrasses them a bit, and some people were cheering like, oh yes, those people, oh yes. The problem is, she could have just let it go because those people taking selfies at the Miranda Lambert concert, say that 5 times fast, were having fun and enjoying themselves. And apparently what we're getting from the Twitter hate is a lot of people aren't enjoying Miranda Lambert, at least not her concert shows, saying that essentially her shows aren't very good. Now, I'm not sure exactly where it came from. I'm sure she's one of the American Idol births of something like that. She came around in those times. So we'll see how that goes going forward. And it's a residency in Vegas, which costs a lot of money and spends a lot of time and apparently had not been all that popular going forward. We shall see how Miss Kalin will respond to the response here and how Miss Lambert will respond to the response to Miss Kalin and how people will respond to Miranda Lambert in general. And finally, this is a really short one. I saw this and I thought this one's going to make the list. It's going to do it. The headline just says it all. Wiz Khalifa throws out first pitch at Pirates game while on Shrooms. Wiz Khalifa threw out the first pitch of the Pittsburgh Pirates game back in the weekend, and he was on Shrooms. And that's it. How'd he do? He got the ball across the plate, a bit outside. Pretty good pitch, though. He made it happen while on Shrooms. That's the deal. That's what you guys want to talk about. That's what we're talking about. And so what do you guys want to talk about this story come up here? This is our teaser story for tomorrow. And this is one that I'm pretty sure I'm going to talk about to my friends for quite a bit of time. We'll see if this works up to the global community, that is, the folks here for the Conversation Project. The headline for this reads, Tupac secures long unsolved killing again under investigation as Las Vegas police conduct search. Police conducted a search. They put out a search warrant to a house in Vegas yesterday. So the case is essentially back open again. People are looking into this one. Tupac Shakur's murder is one of the most frequently listed as the curious and just sort of famous unsolved famous people cases. I know I said famous twice, but essentially people really want to know who killed Tupac. People really know what's this all about. All conspiracy theories aside, this is something that many people, even people who don't understand the music game and how things are working at the time, don't understand how this thing happened. And in the true crime genre of the day, this may come up as something pretty big to look into. Do you want to look into it? You simply go to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. That's how we got our stories today. Go to facebook.com/this is a conversation project and twitter.com/th_conversation. Those are our links on Facebook and Twitter. And every 50 minutes, we post a news story, a headline to check out too. This one was posted a few minutes ago as I'm saying this live. So it should be in your feed sometime. Go check it out and engage in it or any story you like to talk about. Your likes, loves, hates, and shares gives us an engagement score to tell us what stories are more engaging. Tuesday through Friday, we go through the top 15 stories of the day, and we pick 8 of them for the presentation. Monday, we pick 10 stories from top 30. You literally tell us what to talk about every single day on this program, and you can tell us if we're talking about Tupac today or if we're talking about other stories. If this one makes the top 15, trust me, this is going to be number 1 on my list because I know me and my boys have been going back and forth on this all day yesterday. And we're going to definitely do it for a while we figure out if we're going to actually get anything new out of the investigation. Because one, you got to get something new out of it. Our sponsor that we're spotlighting today is Zeni Optical, Zeni Optical. And if you were watching the video, you saw me pull my glasses off because it's been a bit of a flux today, and they were a bit fuzzy, need to be cleaned. It's actually about time for a new prescription. It's been about 2.5 years since I've got them checked or got a new prescription, so it's about time for a new pair of glasses. And when I go to get my glasses, going back to Zeni Optical. Zeni Optical offers great prices on glasses, great lenses, great frames, transition style, blue blocker style, sports style, any type of glasses you need. Men, women, and children, all taken care of at Zeni Optical. What the most important thing is some of the best prices around on the internet. Check them out at thisisaconversationproject.com/Zeni. This is a conversationproject.com/Zeni. Zenni is how it's spelled. This is an affiliate link. So if you visit Mr. Zeni Optical or Mrs. Zeni Optical, however you want to call it, they will take good care of you, and we get a little bit of commission off of the sale. Not too much, won't cost you anything extra, but you will love what you get from Zeni Optical. Now let's talk about us, because it's really all about us at some point. The Conversation Project lives at thisisaconversationproject.com. This is a website that houses, keeps up all the Conversation Project assets. That's replays of this thing here, things you might have heard, also a place for the weekend shows and ways to get to the podcast and some other things we do, newsletter and other things we do around the way. If you think we're doing great, and today may be an iffy day, but if you think we're doing great with the work we're doing, things we're providing, help us out a little bit. Go to our partnerships page and see if there's a way that we can partner up so we can get more stuff done. I am in desperate need today, especially of a second hand to do this thing in the live cast, a producer to help us put things together. And we could do that full time with a bit more extra support. So if you think what we're giving to you is great information, help me get more information out, more work done by going to our Conversation Project page and stop by partnerships or stop by our sponsors and buy from them. That always helps as well. But the most important thing you can always do is follow us on our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. That's the most important thing you can do, period. So we've done that. We've done the other things. We've done a few other pops in there. Let's have some fun, shall we? Fun stuff starts with birthdays every single day here on our weekday when we do this. July 19th birthdays include Anthony Edwards of ER fame and, of course, Top Gun fame. But, Goose wasn't in another movie. But Anthony Edwards turning 61 years old on the day. Anthony Edwards is fine. Goose, of course, is still dead. Benedict Cumberbatch, you know that guy. 47 years old today. Played Sherlock Holmes, played Doctor Strange, played a couple of other sort of odd characters because he can do that. Does a very good American accent, as we Americans don't do very good British accents. So you may not know that he is actually British. Maybe you don't. I guess you do now. He's 47 years old on the day. Happy birthday, Doctor Strange. And Jared Padalecki is 41 years old on the day. Happy birthday to you, sir, from the fame of being on Supernatural and other things here and there. And I think he was, I didn't watch it, but I think he was on the new Walker, Texas Ranger. I think he was Walker, Texas Ranger. CW has his own problems. I have my own problems to deal with. So we're going to, move on from there and go on to the next batch, which is history, things I'm a little better at. So for your 19th of July, going back to 1967, let's start with Apollo 11 and its astronauts Neil Armstrong, Edwin Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins, the guy people always forget, went into orbit around the moon because Armstrong and Aldrin actually touched foot on the planet. Collins just stayed in the pod and kind of drove around and make sure that nobody jacked the pod, I guess. So he often gets forgotten. So, but we also will bring up his love for him, all three members of the Apollo 11 mission on this day, going into space. Sad news in space. In 1985, Krista McAuliffe of New Hampshire was chosen to be the first school teacher to ride aboard a space shuttle. She died this following year when she was in the Challenger explosion of 1986. A big thing, a big part of my childhood because I remember the incident happening as personally. My class was, my seventh grade class was at lunch at the time, and we were kind of upset we couldn't get a chance to see the launch because it was like, we're going to miss it. And then we got back to the classroom and found out about what happened. So it was a very sad day there. And in 2003, a 42-year-old Australian man received the world's first transplanted tongue. That happened. During a 14-hour surgery, doctors removed a malignant tumor and successfully attached the new tongue. No updates on that story, unfortunately. Today, July 19, it's Flitch Day. Why do we care about Flitch Day? Oh, trust me, you care about Flitch Day. Flitch Day may be the greatest day ever, minus Christmas and your birthday, which if your Christmas and birthday comes along with this, it's awesome. A flitch is a measure for bacon. National Flitch Day is an unofficial holiday celebrated annually on July the 19th. Dates back to an ancient custom that saw married couples earning a flitch of bacon by proving the strength of their union after a year. You get married and you're still going strong after a year, they give you a flitch of bacon, which is basically a half a pig cut sideways. So if you don't like bacon, today's probably not your day. But today is Flitch Day. Me and my wife, who knows nothing about Flitch Day at all, will probably go and just eat some bacon just because it's Wednesday and it's Flitch Day. And finally, one more thing you might not have heard. People like themselves. Researchers from Cornell asked 978 people what the qualities they valued most in the potential mate. They asked them to rate themselves in the same qualities. Researchers found that the mate choice, quote, seemed to be based on preferences for long-term partners similar to one's perception of self, unquote. The researchers asked people to rate potential partners on a scale of 1 to 9 on such qualities as financial resources, physical attractiveness, faithfulness, parenting qualities, social status, health, devotion, ambition, family bonds, and desire for children. People who rated themselves highly were more discriminating in what they wanted in a mate, which is sort of one of those water is wet type of surveys. Basically, you're looking for somebody who fits you and your values and your wants. So you want somebody as close to you as possible, even though people say the opposite attract thing. But you really, really just want to, look in the mirror and see you staring back at you, essentially, in these cases. We're done for the day. Mercifully, we're done for the day. This has been things you might have heard for the day that is July 19, 2023. Wednesday happens to be. I am Jay Cleveland Payne. I thank you so much for being with us for these shows, all these programs. We do what we can to keep them lively, keep them going, and keep them off the rails as best as possible. Some days are better than others. Today, one of those days that's not as great as others, but we got 2 more days to make up for it. So hopefully you will give us that leeway. Follow us on YouTube and on TikTok. We are producing clips from this thing here, plus some other things we're calling right now a little extra conversation, a little extra drops, like the one more thing you might have heard inside the feeds that are interesting and cool, and hopefully you guys like them. Check those out there on TikTok and the YouTube shorts there. And follow us wherever you want to get your news from. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter with this thing here in a live podcast. We have the replays wherever you get the replays. We have the audio podcast that we'll chop up in a moment and give to you as well. We also have the newsletter, which is just the facts, just the links, go straight to them every single weekday morning. With that, stay hydrated, stay limber, and stay on task for all the grand things that you are here to do on this planet, including hopefully be back here tomorrow for another edition. We're gonna, shake out the cobwebs of whatever was going on today. It was some tech issues and then just some other things, just sort of drain things down. And we're gonna do a better job tomorrow. And if we don't, we're gonna try to do a better job the next day. And if we don't, we're gonna try to do a better job on Monday. We're gonna keep this thing going as much as possible. Your partnership helps, but we're gonna do what we can and get it done. So why don't you just be here and see how well we'll do it on tomorrow.